a new band of rebels arose who were determined to carry the fight to Jerusalem.
The Sicarii.
To the Sicarii, anyone who wasn't fighting the Romans was a collaborator and worthy of death.
Many were slain every day, and the fear many were in was worse than the calamity itself.
Alright, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, real name, YasharAhla. Alright, it's Brother Chief Priest Shalawam Lawyer, alright, aka the Guerrilla Hebrew, and I want to do this lesson today, dealing with some of the overt Hebrewisms that we see within the Vodou religion, or whatever you want to call it, practice primarily in Haiti and also in Louisiana, because so-called Haitian, we are the tribe of Levi of the nation of Israel, and these are, you know, the evidence that's going to be presented today through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai will definitely help emphatically prove that. Also, the people, the slaves that were brought to Louisiana are also of the tribe of Levi. They're the same slaves that was in Haiti. Okay, also in other parts of the French Caribbean, whether it be Guadeloupe, Martinique, French Guyana, etc. And also our brothers were taken elsewhere, because it's a part of our prophecy that we would be scattered amongst all the tribes, but just predominantly Haiti. Haiti would be the main hub of the tribe of Levi. All right, but we had people elsewhere, and we're taken elsewhere. But that's kind of another topic for another time. But today we want to kind of talk about Vodou. All right, which we know was, heavily practiced by so-called Haitians. First place we want to go here is the book of Malachi 2:8, which is a prophecy dealing with the tribe of Levi. But ye are departed out of the way. Ye have caused many to stumble at the law. What was our job as the priests of God? Was to teach the law to our people, but we caused many people to stumble at it. Ye have corrupted the covenant of Levi, saith the Lord of hosts. We corrupted the covenant, and that's what Vodou is. Vodou is a corrupted spinoff of the Levitical priesthood and the customs that were handed down to us through the Levitical priesthood by the Most High that we see in the Torah, the first 5 books of the books of Moses. Moses being a Levite or a so-called Haitian. All right, that's what it is, and we're going to, again, through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, show and prove that with some very simple, very easily observable, and indisputable facts. All right. Okay, so we have laws, right? As you see the different renditions of it. All right. They are spirits of Haitian Vodou and Louisiana Vodou, right? So the spirit is they are also referred to as mysteries and invisibles, and are intermediaries between bon Dieu, meaning good God, bon meaning good, Dieu, Dio, deity, God, the supreme creator, the Most High, who is distant from the world and humanity. So they are the intermediaries between the Most High and man. All right. Now, before we even go into that aspect, let's just go into the word law and prove that it's Hebrew. Number one, so-called Haitians, we are the tribe of Levi. In the ancient Hebrew, that would be loya, all right, meaning joined to. But it goes back to this Hebrew word, which is what? Loa, loa, all right, meaning what? To join, be joined. To join, be attended, to be joined. What was the ancient tribe of Levi joined to? The Most High. What are these spirits supposed to be joined to? The Most High, the supreme creator, bon Dieu, right? Or Yahweh as his true ancient Hebrew name. Okay, so Loa, all right? Loa, it's literally a Hebrew word, meaning joined to the Most High. That's what it symbolizes. All right, so they had a clear understanding of this concept, but they had corrupted its understanding to a degree, and we're going to show that, right? So again, it says, they are also referred to as mysteries and invisibles, and are intermediaries between bon Dieu, the supreme creator, who is distant from the world, and humanity. They are intermediaries. Okay, let's see what this word intermediary means. A person who acts as a link between people in order to try to bring about an agreement or reconciliation. A mediator. Okay, mediator, go between, negotiator, intercessor, arbitrator, etc. That's what an intermediary is, like a mediator or a intercessor, right? Which is exactly what the tribe of Levi, or the Loya, or Loa would do. That's our job as a so-called Haitian man, to be intermediaries. Well, that was our job, all right? Let's prove that. It's Leviticus 26 and 46. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. Moses being a Levite, a so-called Haitian. So how was this covenant or contract made? With the mediator of Moses. All right. Now we have a mediator in Christ, who the world calls Christ, YasharAhla, but in ancient times, the mediation was done with the tribe of Levi. Further proof, Deuteronomy 5 and 5. This is Moses. I stood between the Lord and you at that time. Moses stood between, was a go-between or a mediator or intercessor between the nation of Israel and the Most High. You see what I'm saying? To shew you the word of the Lord, for ye were afraid by reason of the fire and went not up into the mount, saying, right? See, but what happens? This is Jeremiah 17 and 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee. The heritage that was given to us in particular as the so-called Haitian was the priesthood. So we discontinued from it. But we kept it to a degree, like we maintained it. We maintained it in the sense that we had some form of a concept of it. But what we did was we corrupted it and turned it into something else to where now it's like spirit worship. You understand what I'm saying? As opposed to really being us who were the actual physical people who were supposed to be doing this mediation, kind of corrupted it and skewed it because our true heritage of being the Levitical priest of the Most High was discontinued from. Right? But we still maintain remnants of it. As it says here, Romans 8 and 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. The Holy Spirit leaves certain elements and remnants of our ancient cultures and customs within us just enough for us to draw the parallels in order to get back to our identity and back to our nationality. All right, so this is what you see in one instance with the Loa or the Loa, the join to the Most High. All right, but because we got so far away from it, we now began to attach spirits to it. Okay, but we're going to go into it a little further in a second. But again, it says, I'm going to want to finish this here in Jeremiah 17 and 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. We were brought over here to the Americas, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger which shall burn forever. So we had discontinued from our heritage, but again, we kept it, we preserved it through the Holy Spirit to certain extents. And this was one of them with the whole concept of the Loa. All right, again, which is a Hebrew word meaning joined. All right, the spirits are supposed to be joined unto the Most High and then joined unto man and be that intermediary between man and the Most High. All right. So I want to go into a little bit of this because it all ties in different ways. Matter of fact, before I go there, let's go here real quick. Unlike saints or angels, however, they are not simply prayed to; they are served. Again, they began to worship. That's what worshiping is, serving something. They are each distinct beings with their own personal likes and dislikes, distinct sacred rhythms, songs, dances, rituals, and special modes of service. Contrary to popular belief, the Loa are not deities in and of themselves. They are intermediaries for and dependent on a distant bonjour, so they are dealing with the Most High. All right, now I want to go to this real quick with the syncretism, right? The enslaved Fon and Iwe, which are the main tribes of Africa, of West Africa, that Haitian slaves were taken from. In Haiti and Louisiana, syncretized the Loa with Roman Catholic saints. Vodou altars will frequently display images of Catholic saints. For example, Papa Legba is synchronized with St. Peter or St. Lazarus. Syncretism also works the other way in Haitian Voodoo, and many Catholic saints have become Loa in their own right, most notably Philomena, St. Michael the Archangel, St. Jude, and John the Baptist. Basically, what happened was they create these Loas, and then once they get back into the scriptures, they start to draw those parallels with the people in the scriptures being indoctrinated with Roman Catholicism, all right, and idolizing them. But it's really all the same thing, and we're going to, through the Spirit, Lord, want to bring it full circle right here. I want to go to this book, which is After Colonialism, Imperial Histories, and Post-Colonial Displacements, right? So this is a very good book, got some good information, and we want to deal with this individual named Jean Zombie, and a little bit of the story around him and how it ultimately relates and ties into all of this. All right. The depossession accomplished by slavery became the model for possession in Voodoo, for making a man into a thing but not into a spirit. In 1804, during Dessalines' massacre of the French, Jean Zombie, a mulatto of Port-au-Prince, earned a reputation for brutality. All right, known to be one of the fiercest slaughterers, Moju described his vile face, red hair, and wild eyes. Now, just like he had, because he was mixed. He had a white mother, just like Blake Griffin had a Haitian father and a white mother. So what did he have? He had the red hair, just like we see with Blake Griffin, right? So you could imagine somebody who looks similar to Blake Griffin to be, you know, like Jean Zombie, right? And wild eyes. He would leave his house wild with fury, stop a white, then strip him naked. In Monju's words, he led them then to the steps of the government palace to thrust a dagger in his chest. This gesture horrified all the spectators, including Dessalines. Jean Zombie is one of the most curious prototypes of voodoo tradition. He was one of those who, on Dessalines' order, massacred the most whites during the liberation of Haiti from the French yoke. Jean Zombie is actually one of the most influential mysteries of the voodoo pantheon. As Loa, he belongs to the Petro Rite. So here's the thing. Jean Zombie was turned into a Loa. But this was an actual man that existed, lived, you know, and, you know, killed people and was very active in the revolution. This is what we have to understand about it. The Loa was not just a bunch of spooky, made up things necessarily. A lot of these were actually used to commemorate ancestors, all right? In the sense of, okay, when Jean Zombie did what he did, the voodoo priest commemorated him and turned him into a Loa, saying that his spirit will fall upon people. All right. So it wasn't just so much of this is just some made up spirit that they made up. These Loa were actually based on individual people, man. All right, who they would quote unquote deify or, you know, commemorate or immortalize through calling them Loa. All right, saying that their spirits were high spirits that were dealt with. Right. According to anthropologist Melville Hershkowitz, in Dahomean legend, the zombie, this is where, you know, it's kind of all kind of tie in zombie. People have seen, you see these Night of the Living Dead, Walking Dead, you see all this, and that's supposed to be talking about the zombie. That is very far from the actual truth of what a zombie is. When you deal with the Haitian zombie, when you deal with the Dahomean zombie, and what it comes from. And as we're going to see, as we read through the spirit, you're going to see that there is two different types of zombies and how a zombie is described. And, you know, you check out movies like The Serpent and the Rainbow. Zombification is very real, but not like you see on the movies. A certain potion would be made by a voodoo priest, and it would be, you know, topically put on somebody, and it would induce an immediate state of paralysis that would appear as death. And people would get buried. All right, this happens. Not like, again, The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking, you know, whatever madness people be into. Not like that at all. But there's two different types of a zombie, which we're going to find out. So it says, according to anthropologist Melville Hershkowitz, in Dahomean legend, the zombie were beings without souls whose death was not real, but resulted from the machinations of sorcerers who made them appear as dead, and then when buried, removed them from their grave and sold them into servitude in some faraway land. So, in all actuality, to a degree, a zombie is directly tied in with the transatlantic slave trade. You had wicked sorcerers that were zombifying and selling their own people into slavery, making them appear dead, then taking them and selling them to the white man. This is how many slaves got on them boats, as we're starting to find out going into this history. Through the process of zombification, or basically to take the spookism out of it, putting somebody in a state of paralysis. When they awake from that paralysis and they're dug out of their grave, they don't have control over themselves because of the paralysis, and now its psycho effects, the effects that it has on your nervous system. You see what I'm saying? So from there, you're able to become a slave. All right, and we're going to, as we read in this documentation, it's going to elaborate further. It's beautiful documentation. That faraway land was Haiti. All right. Moreau de Saint-Marie, who presents for the first time in the writing in the night world of ghosts, reverence or spirits, right? And zombie, defines zombie as a Creole word that means spirit or revenant. I want to deal with this word revenant real quick. Spirit or a revenant, right? Now, real quick, it says a revenant. The name zombie, Salakia, means spirit or revenant, right? So let's deal with this term revenant. Revenant means one who returns, especially after a long absence. A ghost, all right? From the French, revenir, okay, meaning to return. Because venir is in French, or as we say in Creole, venir, right? But it's venir in the French, which just means here. Again, meaning here again. You are literally here again, or you coming again, basically. Just like what is it in Spanish? Bin, or they'll say vin, like what am I thinking about? Like I want to say in Spanish it's something like bin panacá or something like that. Forgive me, I really don't speak Spanish. But basically, you know, like I'll say to my daughter, vini, which basically means like come here. So when it means again, come again. So the concept of a revenant or a ghost is a biblical one, because all of us have a spirit in us. This was well understood in the Bible, and your spirit would come again. That would be what you would call regeneration in the scriptures, or what would commonly be known today as reincarnation. It's clear that the ancient Haitian or the Dahomian, which are the tribe of Levi, had this understanding very well. And that's why they attached that word zombie onto the man Jean Zombie. As it says, the name Zombie, once attached to the body of Jean, that wasn't his last name wasn't Zombie, but they called him Jean Zombie because they recognized the fact that he was actually a spirit of a great ancestor, a warrior ancestor, coming back and being regenerated on the earth. All right, which it's telling us. But again, the word zombie means a spirit or revenant, right? Or like it says here in the etymology, a ghost, right? Now watch this. This is Genesis 25:8. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age. An old man full of years, and was gathered to his people. So what happens when you die? You give up the ghost. Your ghost or your spirit leaves. All right? But we also had the understanding that that ghost would come back. Let's show you. This is the book of John 1:19. And this is the record of John, when the Jews sent priests and Levites, so-called Haitians, from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who art thou?" Why are they asking John the Baptist who he is? And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, "I am not the Christ." So they're knowing this is a great man. The same way they said John Zombie, they put that term zombie on him. Because this John, just like this John or Jean, he's somebody. He's somebody coming back. You see what I'm saying? And they asked him, "What then? Art thou Elias? Are you Elijah?" And he saith, "I am not. Art thou that prophet?" And he answered, "No." Then he said unto them, "Who art thou? That we may give an answer to them that sent us. What sayest thou of thyself?" Right? So basically they're saying, look, the reason they're asking these questions is because they have this understanding. They have the understanding of what? That there is something called regeneration or reincarnation that occurs. It's well understood in the scriptures. That's why the priests came and asked them that, because they were well aware of this. Just like the Levitical priests, these same Levitical priests, though we had discontinued from our heritage to a degree, we still had this understanding. But we called it zombie. All right? That's the spiritual zombie. We already spoke about the physical zombie with the paralysis that would be put on somebody, but the spiritual zombie would be when your spirit came back. All right? And you would be able to identify somebody had that great spirit, just like they did with John the Baptist. They were like, well, look, are you Elijah? Are you the Messiah? Who are you? Which he was Elijah, but he just didn't know, because the scriptures tell you in Ecclesiastes 1 that there is no remembrance of former things. So when your spirit comes back into your body, into a new body rather, because all a body is, the word body, abode, means a house. It's a house for your spirit. When it comes back, your spirit is not remembering who you were in times past, but you are exemplifying those same characteristics. So it's evident for people to notice and point that out, but you personally, you don't know. All right? The Most High don't got it set up like that. Okay, so verse 23. He said, "I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness. Make straight the way of the Lord, as said the prophet Isaiah," which is Isaiah, right? So then who the world calls Christ, YasharAhla, what did he say about John the Baptist? Is Matthew 11, starting at 13. "For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you will receive it, this is Elias, which was for to come," which is Elijah. He was for to come. All right? It was prophesied that Elijah would come again and pave the way for the Messiah. So the Messiah, YasharAhla, who the world calls Jesus Christ, he said, look, this John the Baptist, this is Elijah, which is one of the things that the scribes and the Pharisees, or I mean really the Levitical priests, asked him. But he didn't know because there's no remembrance of former things. But people were able to identify it. How did our people identify it on this side of the world? Zombie. They would say, this is a zombie. This is John Zombie. Whoever John the Baptist, if John the Baptist was on the scene during that time, they would have called him John Zombie too. Because you are John, but you are a great spirit that's here again. The way he was moving and executing that white man, they said this is a great spirit that's here again, man. Okay? So anyway, so define zombie as a Creole word that means spirit or revenant. The name zombie, once attached to the body of John, who killed off whites and avenged those formerly enslaved, revealed the effects of the new dispensation. Talking about that spirit coming out. So what did they do then? They commemorated this man and turned him into a lower or spirit deity. Okay, now here's the thing. Our people had a very similar custom, or had this type of, who were inclined to these types of practices. Now, these practices were not positive or good, but we can see in the Bible where Israelites, in their foolishness, did a similar thing. Let's go here to Matthew 17, reading 4 to 5. Then answered Peter and said unto YasharAhla, or Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee and one for Moses and one for Elias. You see that? So they wanted to make tabernacles to commemorate Moses, Elias, and who the world calls Christ. You see that? This is the same type of thing. They make tabernacles for Jean Zombie and all the voodoo lowers and serve and worship them there in order to try to appease them. It's the same exact thing that they were going to do here. But then what happened? Verse 5. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. Behold, a voice out of the cloud which said, This is my beloved Son, the Most High, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. Right? So don't worry about doing no tabernacle. Just listen to the teachings of my Son, as I commanded you back in Deuteronomy 18. Right? So now let's go to Deuteronomy 34, 5 to 6. They try to do this with Moses, which is why his sepulcher was hidden. So Moses, the servant of Yahweh the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, but no man knoweth of his sepulchre unto this day. Nobody knew where Moses was born, and the purpose of hiding the place, I mean, not where he was born, where he was buried, the purpose of hiding, or, not letting people know where Moses was buried, is because people would go there and serve him and worship him and deify him as a great spirit, as they did with Jean Zombie and several other of the Lord that they created, which was there to commemorate great men in our history. As opposed to just looking to them as an example, our people want to always go the extra mile and try to worship creatures as opposed to the Creator. That's something our people struggle with. And as we're reading here in this history, it's clear what was going on. All right, so that term zombie in the spiritual sense, meaning you're one of these great spirits of the past of our ancient ancestors returning on the earth. Zombie in the physical sense means you were put under a state of paralysis and then made a slave. All right, so those are the 2 types of zombies. Okay, the name zombie, once attached to the body of John, who killed off whites and avenged those formerly enslaved, revealed the effects of the new dispensation. Names, gods, and heroes from an oppressive past remain to infuse ordinary citizens and devotees with a stubborn sense of necessity, independence, and survival. What names, gods, and heroes from an oppressive past remain to infuse ordinary citizens? How? Because those spirits come back. All right. The dead alive zombie, recalled in the name Jean Zombie, thus became a terrible composite power, slave turned rebel, ancestor turned lower. So he was a slave. But he was clearly, his spirit was that of a rebel ancestor. They were able to acknowledge that and identify that. So they deified him as a lower, or one joined to the Most High. And in Kruger's demonic spirit, recognized through dreams, divination, and possession. In contemporary Haiti, however, the zombie calls up the most macabre figure in folk belief. No fate is more feared. The zombie understood either as an evil spirit, right? So there's a spiritual side, or the zombie in flesh and bones, the physical, right? Is the most powerful emblem of apathy anonymity, and loss. This incarnation of negotiation or vacancy, what Jamaican novelist Erna Broadbent has defined as flesh that takes direction from someone or a slave, is as much a part of history as the man Jean Zombie. Zombification in its contemporary manifestation grew out of 20th century history of forced labor, victimization, and denigration that became particularly acute during the American oppression of Haiti. You see that? So our understanding of being a physical zombie was literally what we were doing in slavery for the French on that island, and what all of our brothers of black and Hispanic persuasion were doing throughout the Americas. Alright, so I want to go to this document real quick to further prove that, the zombie in the physical sense is dealing with, basically being a slave. For Haitians, there is nothing more terrifying than the threat of succumbing to a zombie transformation. It is representation of complete dispossession, rather. Haitians see the entire history of colonization taking form. The phantasm of a zombie, soulless husk deprived of freedom, is the ultimate sign of loss and dispossession. It is the symbol of their historic slavery and macabre reminder of what they escaped through their revolution in 1804. So we literally view being a zombie as being a slave. We view that time when we was enslaved on that island as a time where we were zombies. You see what I'm saying? Physically. Then we view our uprising as a spiritual zombie, as our great ancestors coming back and taking that stand for us. Matter of fact, there's a series I did here on the channel, Hell Up in Haiti, and also did an updated version on our main channel. This one, Sakari 1715, which I'm going to upload this video on both channels, so it is what it is, whatever one you've seen it. But this, the Maccabees Reincarnated series, we actually show how everything that happened during the Maccabean revolt, which is a revolt of Jews against Greek oppression, white oppression, before the time of Christ. When you take a look at this, you could, we're actually going historical point to historical point, showing you that everything that happened during the Maccabean revolt that's documented happened during the Haitian revolt, showing you that these freedom fighters, these Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Toussaint Louverture, all of them are actual reincarnated Maccabees that we see in the scriptures. So with that being said, it's all through the spirit and power of YasharAhla. So naming that term zombie in that sense on these men is totally correct when you deal with the true understanding of it. So I urge everybody check that out. And also, this is the first video we've done on the Hebrewisms of Vodou. This, I also recommend this, Vodou in the Bible. Also going into various rituals and showing the parallels. And all Vodou is, it was created by us, the so-called Haitian, the Levite, in West Africa, based upon a spinoff, a corrupted spinoff of what our true allotment is, which is what? Being the priest of the Most High, the Levitical rituals. Alright, so I hope that this was an edifying video. I hope it fed the flock and brought some clarification and further, substantiate the point that we are the Israelites, and not just Israelites as Haitians, but we are the tribe of Levi, the priests of the Most High. Okay, with that, again, all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.